All right. Julie Wade joined the Shark community in 2014 and uses Bloodhound and Blackbird to build custom trade logic in NinjaTrader. Her methodology centers around custom range distributions, volatility within those distributions, combined with higher time frame trend, momentum, and linear regression. Julie has recently been learning to apply option order flow techniques to her methodology in order to confirm directional bias and volume levels. All right, with that, Julie, I'm going to unmute you here.
Thank you, Keith. Hi, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit today about how I use the custom time periods and volatility thresholds. We're going to get into a little bit of that theory behind the parameter ranges and how look a little bit at the indicators and then see some specific chart examples showing how I'm using this with Bloodhound. So I appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you so much. The theory is very, very simple. I read a few pages from one of Wells Wilder's books where he defined ranges as the distance that price will go. We're going to leave the progression of buying low, waiting for time to expire, and then selling at a point. That's as simple as it gets. And what Wells Wilder did was it was like all the light bulbs came on for me at one time in a rush, and I really understood the whole concept of trading when he explained that it's taking an average of the range over a period of time, say the last 7, 14, or 30 days, using the bell curve analogy and applying that to ranges for his trading systems to find targets and reversal locations. And that's basically all I read. It was like maybe a couple of paragraphs in this book, and I just stopped reading, and I'm like, I've got to go do that. So I got a spreadsheet out and started calculating the average ranges between my time period that I was trading at the time, 8:30 in the morning to 10:30, and calculating those statistical levels from this bell curve. And every day I would hand draw the levels on my chart from my Excel calculations, and it was blowing me away at how accurate these levels were. And not only were the price was hitting the targets, but they would sometimes use these as levels of reversal locations and then trade up or down. So from the open, I would be able to see this progression from 1, 2, 3, and especially in these various time frames, like that 1 hour IB, it would get to one area of the range, turn around, and then go all the way back across. And literally, I thought that I had found the Holy Grail. For me at least it was. So I got tired of calculating and drawing these lines on my chart. And so I looked to see if I could replicate it with a hard-coded indicator. And fortunately for me, I worked with Adrian at Expert Trading Programmers. I've talked about this before. And he helped me create this JATS PT indicator. PT is for profit targets. That draws these lines like the bell curve on the chart, and as well displays a histogram of volatility threshold levels for these custom time periods, whatever I want to trade. And he worked with magic and coded the best little indicator I have ever used. So I'm going to share this with you. Let me get the markings off the chart here. I'm Julie, and I've been working with the NinjaTrader platform for about 6 years now. I fortunately also was able to get with Shark Indicators, and that helped me build the strategies that I'm working on. And using Bloodhound with the NinjaTrader open source indicators has just been, instrumental in my progression of learning about trading and doing these trading methods. I've said several times that I would not be able to get to this point where I am without Shark, and that is true. The software and the guys over there are absolutely the best. So right now I'm in the initial stages of developing an algo and getting a walk forward test running for that. And I'm just starting to learn everything I can about the options order flow. So all I do is pretty much think about how I can use options now with my strategies. For me, it's all about designing trade strategies. I really love it, and I wish I had found this a lot earlier in my life. Seriously, where can you go to create your own fire? So you need NinjaTrader and Shark indicators. So here we go with the Nexus for what I'm doing. I'm pulling in these quantitative and algorithmic levels um, into the market analyzer from the PT indicator. And so I can figure out really soon how far I'm going to go inside these ranges. The 1 hour initial balance, for instance, I can tell that it's going to be on average 120 points in the NQ, 25 for the ES, 28 for the Russell, and 236 for the YM. So that's just in the first hour of trading. And you can approach it several different ways. You can say that you would like to use the 1 hour PT1, the 43 points as your risk, and or you know that you have about 86 points inside that first hour of trading on average as an expected range. And so depending upon where other pivots in the market lie, support resistance, you can apply a directional trading strategy using directional methods, higher time frame trend, linear regression, momentum, you know, the bias of where you are relative to the put call ratio, the put call delta line, or wherever that parity is on the monthly contract. Price will go in between these levels frequently, as well as the Fibonacci levels and the volume profile levels. I mean, there's a lot of levels that you can trade in and out of intraday. And I now am putting together a framework, like I said, to approach this quantitatively. So it really has helped speed things along with what I'm doing. Using this parameter range methodology with the PT indicator, the opening range indicator, which also gives me these great boundaries with Globex and RTH sessions, and applying that with the linear regression and bringing in these volatility threshold levels has really just exploded my learning curve and the direction I'm going in now with my strategies, because I can take those higher time frames, like on a 15-minute chart or 30-minute chart, and I can tell. I'm going to go back and show you this. I can tell on a 30-minute chart, for instance, what the expected range is going to be, and or the 15-minute range. And I can, having this information is just powerful. For instance, we know what to do if it's way under this range, or we know what to do if it's way over the range. And depending upon these volatility thresholds, I can make a lot of trade decisions, whether I'm going to trade in the market, go to a higher time frame and trade, or just bypass it and skip it. Just get out and wait for the market to come back into the volatility that I'm prepared to trade under. So that has given me a huge, I think, advantage to the way I can approach the market, because we can, using Bloodhound solvers, easily capture these volatility ranges and incorporate these as filters in Blackbird so that we can control our strategies to run in the most ideal, condition. So that's huge. So this is what it looks like. We're going to look at a few chart examples, and then we're going to go to some live charts from today. This is a daily chart with monthly distribution from June 14th. I had to print these out a few days earlier to prepare for the webinar. And this is just a monthly distribution showing you that ES was at the top of the PT1. You notice that the market, responds very well to these levels and respects where you are. I mean, what a great trade to get in at the bottom, PT3 on a monthly. I mean, just, if you can think positionally, how great, is this prime location to get involved in the market. So always do a top-down analysis and start from there and then go down, just like you would in any other methodology. Again, this looks very similar to the ES. The NQ was also up at the PT1. And again, very respectful of these levels. And this is representative on all time frames. Of course, it's the same. The markets are fractal. So these charts will look the same on a 5-minute chart as it does the monthly. Here's a one, and this is a 1-hour IB range on a 5-minute chart. I incorporate Globex opening range into my strategy, also key component. So that is something that you really want to keep your eye on when the market closes and does its maintenance, and they get all the settlements and clear, the prices and print and post the prices for the closing settlements, and then reopen. The Globex open becomes a very strong line in the market, and the custom opening range indicator allows me to capture that, as well as mid range levels and the 1-hour IB level. So using just a few simple concepts with volatility and this opening range, I can apply that with the PT indicator and capture these intraday range levels. This is a 1-hour IB range. It looks just the same as the monthly or daily. And it's the same concept. You see the Globex line here right in the middle of your range, and then price will move to the 1, 2, 3, and then turn around. We went right back to the other side and skipped up. I just got these extensions added to the indicator. I'm real excited about that. And now we have tails that we can trade to. So we can measure our ranges, trade these breakouts like you normally would, trade the breakout of a Globex or your 1-hour initial balance. And now we can have targets to trade to using the PT range for the 1-hour IB. Very, very exciting. And want to point out also that these the 1-hour IB range, so the way I've constructed it is to allow me to get that mid-band period so that I can use half of the range as a distance to help me navigate that, also to confirm targets, to trade to above and below. Knowing if that's going to be my risk, then I need to at least get 1.5 or 2 times outside of that range if possible, and that will help me look for a target and look to see if I can find something like a PT level, extension level, or an option level, or another support resistance level, match that to go outside of my range. Where am I going to be going? So just having these levels to line up with your other levels, like whether it's volume profile or whatever it is that you use, a VWAP, you could, there's a lot of bookmap tools, anything. I think these PT lines would, fit really with anything that you've got and add value to it. They certainly have been for me. Let's see. This again, just for clarity, you can see how the ES loves this 1-hour distribution. But the problem for me with the ES is it will, like I said, love this PT1 and can walk sideways for a mile. And that's where the larger institutions often will start accumulating either in the mean or on the one. And so it can go sideways for a long time before it decides to pop up and hit that 3. But you have to have a method for addressing that. And I do, fortunately, using the slope of the expansion. Want to go with expansion whenever possible, That doesn't necessarily mean direction. When range is expanding, it could also mean that I'm going down. So this was an ideal trade that went from the middle of our distribution. So it hit the 1, 2, 3 beautifully with range expansion up. I mean, this was like a key setup that I look for. Range expansion out, got to target. It could go up or down. It's just range expansion could go up or down. So clear the drawings. All right, so here's the good part. All right, so here's your volatility threshold levels. So I can capture volatility when it gets high, and that's really smart way to trade on a higher time frame. You can set these volatility levels, wait, for these opportune. Here's your daily PT3 high volatility strike, and you just wait for that deceleration. Volatility's mean reverting. So we have a normal base, spike, 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 and then it decelerates back into the base, and that's when that puppy starts taking off. Lather, rinse, repeat. I mean, there's a ton of liquidity in the market. So take advantage of these low spike zones because I don't think the market is finished at all moving higher. I mean, we have a lot of growth coming. There's a lot of optimism about global infrastructure packages, and hopefully that will get a lot of people involved in re-engaging supply and demand everywhere. So hopefully that would be the goal of a massive infrastructure spend. So, I think there's a long way that this could go. The interest rates have been, set 2023. Some taper talk, but let's take a look at the charts real quick and take a look at the live market. And this is today, the NQ on a 60-minute chart with the daily. And you could see we just had a little tiny tail and went right back to the middle of the distribution, and we're just balancing, crossing right back under the 1, going to the 2, but very, very happy. The market's closed. I'm sorry, looking at the clock. It's like, what time is it? And I've got the market analyzer showing me the momentum and where we are positionally, higher time frame trend and volatility. I can track, I can track the volatility threshold level on any time frame that I want to track. And I don't know, it's very faint. You can't see that, but it tells me that it's high 49 on the time frame that I'm tracking. And I probably would want to definitely consider moving to a much higher chart, the 60-minute chart, for instance, if I were going to approach trading that at all. And normally I'm on a 15-minute distribution. So we're going to take a look at some of these charts. Hold on just a second. Get the next one up. Okay, here is the and I'm not going to be able to grab this, unfortunately, and move it. Oops. Let me see if I can, there we go. All right, here we go. Sorry. So here's this threshold that I'm talking about. Just being able to use shark indicators. Threshold solver, very simply add the PT indicator, set your threshold level that you're interested in tracking right here on the side, and you're off to the races. And you can incorporate that into another solver trade strategy, or in Blackbird as a filter. You can also set this so that you can stay out of the market in between these zones. So say, for instance, you want to get out of the market for anything over, say, a volatility of 10 or 15, you can set it so that the algo just sits out and only trades below that area. And that is very, very attractive. So I would say you can, do the eyeball squish test like I do, find these levels very quickly of where the market is normalized, and then approach your strategic algorithm accordingly to these volatility threshold levels. Okay. This is the 5-minute chart and clear drawings. You can see we've got price taking off again after the maintenance period, and coming back. We had these tails. Today we can set the properties of the indicator. So you can come in and put whether you want to go from the PT 1, 2, or 3, and how far you would like to make your tail. So you can just the eyeball test, see where the market tends to go when it leaves an area, and then try to adapt your tail to the market. So I think this is a good way to custom curve fit, and that is curve fitting the volatility. That's something you do want to do. So if you ever hear people saying don't curve fit, well, don't listen to that for volatility. You absolutely, because volatility it clusters, so it's going to repeat and do the same things over and over and over again. Here is an example of just using the Bloodhound solvers basically to capture an attempt to leave the 1 to go to the 2 and 3. So when price leaves the 1, I want to trade to the 2 and 3. That's just a simple little strategy, and it's a good, effective strategy for the day trading, especially when you mix this in again with your volatility threshold. Obviously, preferably you can be in a low volatility environment and do quite well in a structured trading manner. When you get a big, wide ranging bar, it can cost several $1,000s just to find out if you're right or wrong in your direction, or if something were to flip around on you and whipsaw you out of a trade. And can be very, very cost cost prohibitive is the right word. So trade with your direction going to your target, like to this fib, and just get out. Or if you fill the gap, like it came back and filled the gap, get out there. So have a plan and a strategic approach to the market would be the best way. Here is the Globex high and low. Here's the opening range indicator. And I can easily construct an algo to trade as a filter above or below, like turn it on when it gets outside the Globex levels. And this is a very, very popular algorithm. You can back test this and get some very, very good backward test results. A 3 or 5 minute chart on a 60-minute range, or a 15-minute range, 30-minute range. Check it out. You might be well pleased. Likewise, you can trade from the mid band of the initial balance or the Globex open. Just use that as a filter. Overall, trade with Globex is a good idea, or the RTH open, especially when you're trading the RTH open with Globex as a directional trading strategy. But this Globex high-low breakout can also be effective. But here we go, right there. That's the one. That's your winner, winner, chicken dinner. Back test that and let me know what you think. And again, we've got the thresholds. I also can put some things together that I'll talk to you about for my customers. This last template that I want to share with you is of the Xrex template. And I basically take some of these threshold levels that we were looking at on a higher time frame and can put that in Blackbird to manage trading this, because this can get very wild and deep if you have to go to a larger time frame. But you can take some of these levels that you would like to trade, 5, 10, or 15-minute level, and size your UniRenko bar to that point system. And that way you can trade when it comes back into the pullbacks, trades back into the averages. And this can get you a lot of quick price action trades, especially the way I've got this set up. So for instance, if you want to wait for the trade to get to, for instance, this 89 EMA as a requirement to start taking the trades, but you can execute when it gets to the 50 from the first hit the 89 and then take the trade at the 50. And then that way you're going in the direction of the trade and not coming all the way up even further. So you can set a very, very tight risk behind here, and that's the optimum thing to do, and trade in the direction and when price is going in your favor, and come up with your own risk reward for that. So this works quite well. I can set this up all the way from the requiring it to get all the way to the 200 first and then come back in. So just to give you an idea of the distance, you can use the JATS price oscillator, or NinjaTrader's version of the oscillator would work on the chart. So this is 24 points from the 200 to the top. So there's your risk, really. You're looking at 24 points. And so you want to be trading multiples of 24 points for your profit target. And the way that I've got the price oscillator set up is you can always be seeing where you are, your distance from your risk to the target. So you can easily look right down here and see where you are risk-wise for a profit and risk reward. See if you want to set up a trade in that direction. When it starts trending, you're going to see it flatten out, and that is, an area where you really want to think that these pullbacks to some of these averages would be a good opportune time to get involved, especially if your other indicators are working for you, your volatility and your linear regression, momentum, and trend. So when everything's working together, you're going to see the market respond. Like right now, it's looking like a Christmas tree. The bonds are going bullish and the equities are going bearish. So I've got this market analyzer set up pretty quickly, so I can get the bias going of what the market direction is, and then try to decide how to participate, and even use these threshold levels from the PT indicator as a guide to overall incorporate that risk. So if I'm seeing that there's 24 or 25 point risk for me to take a trade here, I want to look up here and see if I can match that, and I can see that a 30-minute PT1 range fits in that time frame. So I would be looking to achieve that within about a half an hour So it really helps. All this comes together for me. Or, if I'm getting too close to the end of the day, I may decide, I don't want to take that last half-hour trade. It's probably going to fade back, make a decision on how the market is looking. So it's very helpful. So with that, I think I'm about ready to come back to the webinar now. Let me to the slide share, get to this last screen and talk to you a little bit about the complete package if you're interested in getting any of these indicators and Bloodhound Ultimate. Bloodhound has, like I said, really changed my life forever, being able to put me in the driver's seat of capturing my own fire. I couldn't have done that because I did not know how to code when I first started. I've learned a little bit since then, but not nearly enough to do anything really of any significance. So definitely consider Bloodhound and pick up the complete package that would get you some chart templates and the indicators. So check that out. It's on the website, and there's a link. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming. And let me look to see if there's any questions. Well, there's a question. Hey, Heidi, how many days back do you calculate the average for? Well, I can do, like you can do, let me take this off so that you can see it. I put a chart back up with the indicator. You can put any number of days that you would like. You can choose 14, 27, anything that you would like. You have control, as well as whether you want to calculate that range from the open or the close. So especially when you're doing a custom time period, the 1 hour initial balance or something like that, you want to start the distribution off the open. That way you're parking yourself in the middle of the mean. So like if you get in your car and you're driving somewhere, how far do I have to go? So if I look up here and see that my 1 hour has an opportunity to go from 85 points, anywhere from 61 to 85 points, and I'm in the middle of that RTH distribution, I'll know how far I want to go and then try to find other things like a pivot point or an option level or profile level or something to lean on as, to confirm that confluence with my PT level. But often, just on its own, a standard 14 period is what I find the algos are pretty much keyed into. So I just stay with it. Yep. I don't, Bruce. I don't have an open house. I didn't plan one. Summer, I take that back. Shark, we're going to have a Shark Week coming up at the end of summer. So I'll have an open house then. Yeah. Do a big open house. I'm got a lot going on right now, so I'm not going to be able to do an open house room this week. And I don't see, I don't have a trade room. I don't offer a trade room. I'm not doing a trade room at all. I help my customers get acclimated to the indicators. So when you purchase the indicator or a package, I'll work with you several days, several days or several weeks, however long you feel comfortable of using the indicators, and then showing you how to use them with Bloodhound and Blackbird. And then you're on your own. You're probably tired of me by that point anyway, right? There is a Discord room, I know, for traders that is very good, and I can get you that link. Bruce, I'll be glad to do that. Shoot me an email and I'll get you a pretty cool group to check out. Also, Shark Indicators, by the way, has a Discord room that we've just got. Keith set up for them, and that looks pretty cool. So you might want to post your screenshots your Bloodhound charts in that room. And that way you'll have a community of people who use the Bloodhound products with the indicators that you can chat with. And everybody's using the indicator library from NinjaTrader and or Lizard's indicator library or Futures.io, and using those indicators with Shark so that you can be creating your own solvers. And that's really the goal for this, is for me to show you how to use this, setting up your own solvers and strategies to use these indicators with Blackbird and create your own strategies. Bruce, no, I don't really can't share back tests, but if you come to the open house, that'll be something that we'll do for the open house, is we'll run some back tests. How about that? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Bruce. I'll get that to you. Yeah, they're kind of funny about back tests. Heard yes and no. I just stay away from it. It's not that I'm trying to hide anything. You have to be careful with back tests, as the hypothetical result will tell you that disclaimer. Just because the volatility has occurred the way it has the last 20 days or 14 days or 30 days or 60 or 90 does not mean that the volatility is going to be that way in the future. So you have to be careful about that. But I think having a threshold ability to put your strategy in the volatility threshold is groundbreaking. I mean, think about it. You control your buyer. So if you don't want to trade this high vol, like right here, you just filter it out. So you would not even be involved in this huge bar. You see the difference? See the difference of this huge giant bar? I mean, if I were to get the ruler out, I mean, going from the tip to the toe, 33.5 points. I mean, where's my HP12C? 134 ticks. So that's $670 just on that one bar with one contract. So it can be quite expensive if you get caught on the wrong side of a sudden spike, or, something can come out. I remember, Greece separating from the euro and the market was just going nuts. That was like one of the first big vol events for me. I'm sure there have been plenty before that, but my first real exposure, I did actually was sitting in front of the screen when the yuan, the renminbi or the yuan, whatever it was, devalued in that August. And I was watching crude at the time, and even crude just like floored, went way, way low. So you never know what's going to happen in the market. And if you have a volatility indicator that will exit for you and flatten the trade when the level is hit, I mean, just think about the power for that for us. You wouldn't have to wait for that bar to close and cost you all that money for your strategy to get you out. Yeah, it's, I think, a very good thing to have. And I will send that Discord link to you. I'm trying to get my notepad up so I don't lose that real quick. Hang on 1 second. Okay. And okay. Thanks, Bruce. My indicators will work on Forex or Bitcoin or stocks or anything. You just have to have a NinjaTrader account if you have NinjaTrader, and if you subscribe to the data, anything you can get on NinjaTrader. So they've got options, they've got stocks, they've got Forex, they've got futures, they've got futures currencies, they've got Bitcoin. So I think they've got it all. So you may want to check it out. But yeah, anything data that you get, pay for the data. Yeah, filtering news out. Yes, drop us on Fed reaction. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they're going to have to be talking about, because I think they pretty much decided that there's going to be, 2 rate increases by 23, and the tapering is going to start. And so I think they've done a very good job of communicating, um, being very more transparent. You guys, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, I mean, Greenspan didn't tell you nothing. I mean, they were like as opaque, and everybody had to read the tea leaves, and the bonds would go crazy if they just coughed. And yeah, this is so much better in my opinion. I think having that information out. I do not have an open house. I'm going to be having one later this summer after Shark Week. I'm sorry, I just don't have time right now. I've got a lot going on. My apologies. Please come back for Shark Week open house. We'll have a big one and we'll do back testing. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. Hey, Richard, which link are you looking for? I'm not going to have an open house. I'm sorry. There's no link. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, I'm very happy with this system. I think it's going to give me a lot to work on. I think the opening range system is a very well designed system. You can see that these mid bands are actually very, very used. Both the Globex midband, the RTH 1 hour initial balance midband, that's different than a 25-minute or 30-minute opening range. It's the actual midband between the 1 hour high low. So, and the same with my midband for my Globex. And just having those on their own are fantastic. But playing off the RTH open with the Globex open, I didn't, let me put the Globex line on here real quick. So you can see that is a different line than your midband, but that open is used as that Globex open from right after the maintenance period, after they settle all of the trades, post their calculations. That is like a very, very powerful support resistance area and will give you a great location to launch a trade from, a directional trade. You just have to be careful not to get caught up in it in the overlap, which it will overlap a lot, especially in the ES. So NQ is a little bit better about launching away from an area, but you just never know. If it's going to be a flat inside, normal distribution day, there's not really much you're going to be able to do trade-wise. Try to wait for that range expansion. Use your linear regression and your momentum, and go when you see that the market is inclined to make a move up or out, especially if you can use these volatility levels also, and just elect to stay out of a big one, or wait for that volatility spike and then see the deceleration and trade that deceleration long. That's where you want to signal right here that you can now safely come in for your RTM. because volatility is mean reverting. So you spike down and you mean revert back in. So that was a very good setup right there. So yeah, thank you. I love Bloodhound. I mean, you know what you could do, Bruce? Have you check out that Discord room? I'll send you a link to the Discord room for Shark Indicators. Start posting your charts there. I'm going to start trying to hang out in there a little bit more, and you know, from time to time, come in, post some charts, chat about the market, see what you guys are doing and working on. But yeah, I appreciate that. Um, yeah, no. All right, guys. Well, I I know that PayPal, you might want to look at that, Bruce. They may be able to do something for you, but I can't make any changes to those SKUs. So just, you know, keep trading, apply your methodology, and see what you can do. So thank you very much, Keith. I'll hand it back to you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you again for your time and letting me show you this little perimeter range system.